Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast, episode 184. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
And joining us for this emergency recording is Bricky.
I hate Thousand Suns.
So does GW.
Got him.
But we are recording 184 after 183, but you'll be hearing 183 next week because GW made a fucky wucky.
Is that the scientific term?
Yes. The Dataslate accidentally dropped, and then they said, screw it, rather than have everyone zombie it together and have 35 Auspex videos, they'll just drop it for real. So we are real quickly going to be doing a Dataslate run through so Borrelio can spend his entire weekend editing this. Just so you know, when you hear 183 next week, yes, the points have changed. Yes, the Drukhari Codex leaked after we recorded that. I'm well aware of what that means. Instead of making those same boring comments next week, think of some clever knock-knock jokes to post instead.
So a lady is currently taking a shower and she's scrubbing along and she hears a knock at the door. And so she yells, "Who is it?" And the door yells, "The blind man." Now, since he's blind, she decides not to put on a towel. And so she comes down to the door and opens it wide and says, "Can I help you?" And he says, "Nice tits. Where do you want the blinds?"
Wow.
And that's why Bricky's here this week.
Who sits down and starts a conversation like that?
We're talking about the Dataslate this week. We're not going to be talking about the new detachments because they have not been posted yet. I don't know if they even exist or if GW, after promising to do those every 3 months, forgot 6 months later. We'll find out next week. However, we're also not discussing the Drukhari leaks this week because I am not strong enough to keep calm.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, as a Covens player, you can no longer build 2,000 points of Covens units. Fantastic.
Very funny.
I have 18 Kit Bash models made out of multiple GW kits that I put together, put a bunch of love into, painted up, and they're legends now.
Rich Evans saying very cool.
All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about the Dataslate.
Sounds good.
Hi there, it's me, Bricky, the local merch baron. It's lovely to speak to you all right now because unfortunately we are having a passing in the family. And that passing are various items on the Warhammer merch site. Currently, there is a great going away sale where the entire store is 10% off. And if you buy 2 items or more, the entire Warhammer store is 20% off. Certain items, such as the paintbrush liquor and version 1 of Horde mode, as well as a few other items, will be going away permanently. However, this discount is for the entire store. So even if you don't want those permanent things, there's stuff for you to buy. Get yourself some dice. Get yourself a terrible Krieg shovel meme. Get yourself objective markers. Buy things. Allow Brad to escape the automotive industry. Allow Eric to continue his lifestyle. And allow me.
God. Like catching strays, man.
I was going to sit through the whole spiel, but that got me.
Shit.
And allow me to visit Michigan once more so I can yell at these men in person. Buy now. The Warhammer merch site at Orchid8. Link in the description. QR code on screen.
I didn't even know we had a QR code.
Does anyone use QR codes?
It increases click-through rate by 33%.
I didn't even know we had a click-through rate.
33% times 0.
To the moon.
We go from 3 people to 4. It's crazy.
But yes, merch sale in the description now. Check it out. Click on the QR code. Do whatever you gotta do. Grab it while it's hot. You say you wanna do it for the month of September?
Sure. The entire month of September. Actually, this may not go up till like halfway through the month. That's enough. Yeah, you've got till October 1st. I hate you.
The entire month of September as we post this on the 15th.
2 weeks.
There also won't be a reminder on next week's episode because we already recorded it.
We could stitch something in, I'm sure.
Just copy paste this into next week's episode at the end, Borrelio.
Fix it in post.
He'll cover it. It's fine. All right. So we've got a Dataslate in front of us.
Yeah.
Look, imagine waking up this morning as a Drukhari and Thousand Suns player and thinking you're about to have a nice weekend. And I own Genestealer Cults, technically.
You know, at least the Necrons are doing okay.
Yeah, my prodigal son is the only one who's doing well in life. Great.
All right, let's talk the quick, like, general mission change stuff. We don't have twist or challenger cards anymore.
Yeah, remember challenger cards for all 30 minutes those existed? Remember how you forgot to draw them half the time? Okay, you don't have to remember now.
When we were at Palm Springs Open, they said that we were using challenger cards because of whatever the rulings were, and then the whole 120 people booed. So it's very clear that they were not a fan.
They were, like, kind of neat in idea, but nah, it's fine that they go away.
GW is obsessed with catch-up mechanics that are more easily abusable than they are catch-up mechanics.
Yeah, I was talking to Paul is bad at stuff in a thing recently, and we were talking about the challenger cards, and I kind of felt like they should instead be some kind of weighted humorous thing. Like there was something I joked about where it's like orbital bombardment, roll 3 dice, and for each of those dice they correspond to an objective marker, and any unit on the objective marker takes like a mortal wound or something. But you know, obviously if you're losing, they should be on more markers than you, and like, you know, weight it that kind of way, and not just make it kill a unit 3 points. It's so anemic.
Yeah. Was there any other changes core rule-wise this time? We're far in the edition. It's not like we have much going on in core Stratland right now.
No, very little.
There were obviously some, you know, rules that were just basically like cleaning up wording so that it actually follows what other things are going on, but that's normal.
Yeah, there was the FAQ for when you have multiple dev wounds in a single activation, but it works exactly like you would assume it would. It's just nice that they actually put it in there. It's not really like a change. But yeah, let's go through all the factions then.
We'll start with Sisters.
The typical Bricky start, Sisters.
Yeah, Sisters. So remember last time I spent way too long talking about how the new Retributors do that thing where they give you +1 to hit and wound instead of, and therefore if it doesn't work for flamers and certain things?
Yes, you sure did.
They literally heard my prayers word for word, and now it is as well, which along with a 10-point decrease in points to 105, that's still pretty pricey for 5 sister models, but being able to be like, all right, well, I'm firing 8 multi-melta shots at something with +1 to hit and wound and reroll 1s to hit and wound, that's something.
I mean, the change to the rule is it's like a buff, but it's also just kind of nice to have it works as you would kind of expect. I feel like 105 is probably still good, right?
They definitely were not good at 115. This might make them good at 105. The thing is, they don't really get character support because they're only 5 girls, you know? But I think it might be okay. I think you'll still just see 4 multi-meltas, but it is pretty easy to like reserve 5 multi-melta girls, and then let's say you're shooting at a knight, and then that knight shot something earlier, so it's like, oh, 8 shots on 3s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s. Like, you're probably gonna sink some things. And then, of course, because you're sisters, you just need to sink like 2, and then you're like, all right, here's a 6, eat shit.
That's about right. Yeah.
The Imagifier went down 10. That's cool. That's nice. She was a little pricey. Astrid Thurga went down 15. I've always been kind of like, damn, I wish this model was good, but they never really were. This might make them playable. They're like a couple somewhat decent attacks, like 4 at 5/2/2, but their main thing is anything that their unit kills, you get a miracle dice for. If the little helper person, Dolan, gets killed, you get D3 miracle dice, and you confer dev wounds to the entire unit.
That is nice.
That's neat.
It can be nice. I like it a lot on normal Battle Sisters, because then you can kind of get a little bit funny with it. You hide them and then like you come out and then you fire a bunch of bolters, but those bolters have dev wounds, and then you fire your multi-melta and then you use a 6 miracle dice, so now it's a dev wound multi-melta, and then, you know, some melee hits. I actually like her a lot on Sacrosanct because you use the 2 damage mace and then it's 2 damage dev. Like, there's some things.
Yeah, because they can lead basically everything.
Pretty much anything, yeah. There's even, I'll be honest, there's even a world where you might put it in like a Flamer Retributor squad with those, reroll, wound roll, and then, I don't know. But
Sure.
Regardless, she's 70 points, not bad. And then Celestine went down 10, which is, I actually think is pretty good. I think she was a little overcosted. 10's good. With Zephyrim, she kind of hit kind of hard. So, yeah, it's cool. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. I think Sisters are like pretty middle of the road right now. So, we languished for a while. Well, we were really good, then we languished. Now we're like fine. Maybe a little bit weak, so this seems fine. I think this is fine.
It seems like after the recent back and forth changes, things are like mostly okay. Like, you can make some slight tweaks here and there, some buffs kind of stuff, but like, I don't expect to see another like sweeping change to how the faction essentially works.
We've only had 6 of those this edition, so.
I think they finally mostly figured it out.
All right, but moving into Custodes, it's time for our every hot takes lecture here. As a reminder, Custodes only got point changes, and if you're a casual watching this and like you don't do high level tournament play, which is like 99.99% of people watching this, points do not matter all that much. Do not fret a 10-point increase on one unit. Like, it's going to affect 1 out of 15 games you play over your entire list. So we're mostly concerned about things that get rules changes, When it comes to points, that's more for like the competitive bleeding edge, getting that 1% extra win rate stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they are still fun to talk about every once in a while kind of thing as reference. They can be one of those like, oh, it changed a whole bunch of points, were increased. So like your list is going to be changed kind of thing.
Right, but if your list increases by 10 points on 7 units, that's still only the change of like one cheap utility unit being lost. Like it's nothing.
I mean, it does matter, but it's not like, holy shit, I can't believe they're changing everything kind of thing. I do think for the Custodes changes, though, this is nothing. Your lists are not really going to change. You might be able to fit a small extra unit in, whatever.
Realistically, what you're going to get is either an extra Sister of Silence squad or changing out one of your squads for a different one that you wanted more. But it is buffs. Shield Captains down 10. Custodian Guards, if you're taking 4 or 5, are down 10/15. Prosecutors, Vigilators, both down. The Land Raiders down. So if you've got a big gold box, there you go. It's not much, but it's fun.
Yeah, the Land Raiders down 20 for everything. So all factions get that one. The Shield Captain, like that was the one that's like, I don't think anybody really took it unless they were bored. So hopefully it helps a little bit.
I'm not going to lie. I do this every time because I feel like, okay, you're not taking 9 or 10 girl sister squads unless you're playing like Null Maidens or maybe the occasional Alea with Vigilators type thing. But the theory crafting Andy in my brain is like, I can take 30 Custodian Guard for 1,200 points.
Yeah.
Like I can take 30.
That's a lot of Custodes, yeah.
I can take 30, man. At some point, you're just gonna get really chunky. I don't know. It's a very funky thing, and I'm always a little bit like scratching my head, like, oh, maybe there really is a Horde Stodes list available at that point, but I don't know.
I hope not, because I think that like
Same.
a Horde Custodes just fundamentally fails from lore kind of thing, like it's just not right.
Agreed.
It's just showing the depressing state of how many models we're playing nowadays.
Yeah, and they should be buffing the units so that they are more points cost. Like there's more than just they're doing a little bit worse, let's drop the points kind of thing.
This is actually a cool segue because it gets into something I daydreamed a couple weeks ago and debated bringing up on an episode, and Call kind of does it. This is something I was thinking of. We have issues with the way certain factions do not feel elite enough for people, and in general, you just have to buy too much plastic in order to play a full game, right? AdMech being a great example of this. I had dreamt up the idea of using your points to buy extra army rules. So
Sure.
like you could make a more elite army with less models. That's more, the kids would say is my lore accurate Space Marine, where you can take one Space Marine and they're jacked to the nines, right? But Call kind of does that now. Moving into AdMech here, he got a point bump. He's 175 points now, but the guy just is like a walking oath of moment and everything.
Yeah, it's tough because like in some aspects, these models that are like auto include starting a list for the faction, you include this model because it unlocks rules for the entire faction.
Which, to be fair, I still don't think Call's auto-include like this. I think he's now very cool to play, though.
I think he might be auto-include.
I think he's auto include.
Yeah, he literally gives you a moment, and his gun is insane.
It's very good. The auto-include are not part of it. I think it is a very interesting way to do a way to elitify AdMech, which is notoriously god-awful to fucking field right now.
Especially given 10th edition, we just don't have as much customization. Having Call like get buffs cost a bit more. That is a way to do it. But yeah, dude, all of his canticles are reworked essentially. Giving Oath is pretty crazy.
I mean, I think you're going to pick Oath almost every time. You pick OC in case you can flip an objective, obviously, and that's worth it. And then giving Stealth is really good for when someone's running maybe like MSU, you don't have a good Oath target. That's also pretty good. Also, his gun being flat 3, D6 plus 3 in Melter range is just it's so funny. That thing absolutely rips. And it's hilarious how powerful his gun is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly less on like the consistent damage because it's D6 instead of flat 3, but like you have just so much more because it's Melta 3 instead of Melta D3 and just flat 3 attacks instead of D3 attacks. So like it's just gonna work out so much better from the averages there.
He looks like because he's up 40 points, but honestly, I would pay 40 points for my character with this gun with oaths any day of the week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's still 175, which is a massive amount for AdMech, but
There's other changes though. The Dune Crawler got better eradication beamer. Iron Strider got twin linked on its gun in exchange for being not meme level low points.
I think both of these changes are like honestly pretty awesome. The Onager focused went up to strength 10, which is a pretty nice. 9 to 10 is actually kind of matters a decent amount when you're trying to, use those weapons against certain tanks and stuff like that.
They did reduce sustain hits D3 to sustain hits 1.
Yeah.
But they did make it 3 D3 shots now.
Exactly. So it ends up being mathematically more stable shooting. It's less, boy, I hope I roll sixes.
I also gotta say, the fact that Call now has oaths and you now have twin-linked las cannons on your Iron Striders is hearkening me back to some 9th edition days that I'm not excited about. I'm a little spooked.
Yeah, sustained hits, twin linked with oath. Ooh.
Yeah, that's big oof.
It's gonna hit hard. But I mean, they did eat a point increase.
Which I will take. Again, this is the type of change I really like. Increase points while increasing what the unit does. Please, we need this on several factions. There's a lecture in next week's episode that was this week's episode where we talk about this. But Infiltrators, Ruststalkers also got changes.
Infiltrators having more attacks, and honestly giving AP to the Taser Goad is kind of interesting. And the Ruststalkers just flat 2 damage is going to be nice. But less attacks, so like that kind of sucks. But yeah, overall, pretty interesting changes. We always see AdMech changes, and they're always like, what's going on? You don't know what you're doing. But this one's kind of interesting. I like it.
It's some increases in points, but mostly not, and just better data sheets. So I love it. I'm a huge Dune Crawler fan, so that's awesome. Love that little thing. So I think it's good. I think it's solid. I don't know if it'll make them good, but it definitely helps.
It's honestly, it's enough that like I kind of want to whip out some AdMech this weekend to play a call heavy, going for 6 Iron Striders, 2 Dune Crawlers, call, fill out the rest with stupid stuff. Play just something dumb.
Speaking of something dumb,
the Baneblade's cheaper. Eric, the Baneblade.
And all of its iterations.
Sir, yes, sir. The private grenade, throw it back. The private in question.
Yeah, I do believe all of the Baneblades are just down 30.
Yeah. Every single Baneblade is down 30 points. And I'm not gonna lie, I think this is where we might actually see one. Not super competitively, but maybe. And there's 2 reasons for this. 1, 30 points is a lot. Also, Baneblades are the notorious toughness 13, which is a very, very nice breakpoint to be at. They're also OC 8, which is hilarious. And of course, every Baneblade will always come with 4 las cannons and 4 twin heavy bolters, just not to mention all the other guns, which is always handy. But the only unit that last Dataslate was allowed to order Baneblades was Leontis. Leontis has in fact received a 20 points drop as well. So in reality, if you were running a Baneblade, you actually kind of went down 50 points more than anything.
But what if I'm running 2 Baneblades?
Then you're down 80 points.
And you're memeing.
You are kind of memeing because 2 Baneblades and Leontis is about half your army.
But that's so many guns.
It's so many guns.
It's probably less guns than just taking an equivalent amount of Rogel Dorns, but we're not going to think about that.
Maybe, but the guns are like smaller. Which, speaking of, Rogel Dorns both went up 10.
I think that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's not really going to impact too much, but like, yeah, that's fair.
I do kind of wish the Lehman Russ commander went down a little bit. I still think there's a bit of a discrepancy.
You're still just going to take the Dorn commander, yeah.
Yeah, because 235, like I would still pay 40 points for the Dorn commander, especially because, you're having the platform issue of like, if you're putting an enhancement on a character, it's better to put it on the big guy, etc. So maybe the Lehman Russ commander going down 10 would have been nice.
So when are we getting the Baneblade commander?
Dude, they did. They had him. His name was Yarick.
Pour one out.
Just accidentally opened the ultimate IG wound right there. Jesus.
I know. Anyway, though, Gaunt's Ghosts are down 10. My dick is erect.
Yeah, I don't understand that change.
I think 110 was just a lot.
Yeah, sure.
There are a bunch of T3 like bodies at 5-up saves, The moment they got sniffed at, they died. So I think it's fine. I'm cool with it. 110 was a bit much. And Engineers went down 10, which is cool. I think after the bomb nerf, people were not so stoked on it anymore.
There was a clarification in the Q&A that I did enjoy seeing. If a unit becomes affected by the same order multiple times, do those orders affect that unit multiple times? Answer, no.
There was another one, Eric, for your Grey Knights.
Oh?
They remembered to give the keyword leader for your chaplain. So there's your big Grey Knight buff.
Cool. It was pretty obvious that it was missing. Not a big deal, but it's kind of irritating because, like, so the Land Raider and Redeemer went down because, like, those were blanket across the game. Those just went down those points. And so I was like, oh, they're just not touching Grey Knights yet, right? Like, they just haven't looked at it, but they did, sort of.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm seeing the phrase Land Raider Redeemer points drop, and sirens are going off in my head, and Vietnam era PTSD is flooding back to me.
Have you read Codex Grey Knights?
No, I'm just saying the Redeemer going down in general scares me.
Yeah, no, like, it's a Space Marine thing. Grey Knights, if they're gonna use it, it's only because they have nothing else. So yeah, Grey Knights, cool.
All right, Imperial Agents, you still technically exist.
No, they don't.
They did make changes to the leader sections on this one, though.
Don't care.
The Inquisitor and Draxus don't get to lead Deathwatch Kill Team.
Exciting.
I think that does actually kind of matter.
Well, yeah, why the hell does Draxus, the Ordo Xenos Inquisitor, not get to lead Deathwatch? What the balls?
I think they were scared that the Deathwatch Kill Team and Watchmaster went down 10 points. And oh no, Imperial Agents is fucking weird.
Imperial Knights, the current boogeyman of the format, with their brand new codex that is not okay, is slightly more okay now that Valor Strike Lance got nerfed in 4 different ways, all of which it deserved.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell if this was too far.
No, it's fine. This is fine.
I don't know, but it was a problem. And then they did update the OC to 10 for all the big knights. This doesn't seem like a knee-jerk reaction. It's more of a, oh no, let's make sure it's not a problem.
And it's mostly targeting a problem detachment.
Yeah.
It's a fine philosophy. Keep this in mind later on.
Yeah, it does feel a bit heavy. It should be enough to make sure that we see what else is going on in Imperial Knights, but we've got Space Marines still.
Does anyone have strong opinions on Space Marines?
Dude, it's the most nothing burger I've ever seen.
Thank God I don't care. The lion change is kind of neat.
That's not Space Marines, though. That's
It's all Space Marines. Fuck you.
No, it's Snowflake Space Marines. We've done...
You can buy a lion and paint him purple and put him with your other boys, and you can play Dark. It's the same goddamn faction.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Space Marines. We'll head over to Woke Marines soon, okay? We're talking about good boys in blue.
Yeah, Gilliman's up 20.
No, he's a special one. He's not in all Space Marines. We gotta wait, Eric.
Sorry.
I'd like to repeat, Land Raider Redeemer, down 15. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. I do like the Redemptor Dreadnought down 15, though. I do. I am happy about that.
As a Dread fan, it's like the one thing I really like doing in Space Marines, and I'm always happy to see cheaper Dreads.
As a Dredge fan, I'm a big fan of boats.
As a Dredge fan, I like putting things in my graveyard.
Zing!
Yeah, I mean, there's some, like, point ups and downs.
Hey, I like with Blood Angels, the Sanguinary Guard change, like we talked about, increase their points but buff them.
Yeah.
This is great, giving them the weapon skill too that they absolutely deserve as Sanguinary Guard.
That's another one of those of, like, make the unit feel more like it should from, like, a flavor aspect, and then, you know, make the points as necessary.
Yeah, and then you increase the spear to match the blade as far as attack count goes, even though I think you still always pick the blade because there's too many ways to get Lance anyway, whatever. But it's a nice change overall. Thumbs up. Love the actual change to Blood Angels. And while we're here, Dark Angels now, Bricky.
Yippee! The lion! He might actually be good.
The 15th time's the charm.
I mean, you get to pick 2 abilities this time instead of 1. That reeks of desperation, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, it does. That's what I felt when I saw it. I was like, this is the Hail Mary. I don't know how to fix this fucker without a complete rewrite.
Now, grant him, his abilities are very good. One of them is Command Phase Uppy Downy, the best Uppy Downy in the entire game, because you get to see your cards. The second one is reroll once to hit and wound in melee. The third one is Aura of Feel No Pain 4-up against mortals. And the reroll is also an Aura. I feel like you're picking Feel No Pain and rerolls every time until you get a card that says, I should be Uppy Downying right now.
Yeah.
And then you pick Uppy Downy and rerolls, which is actually very, very good. Also, you did miss something in here, Brad. There's just a change to their land speeder. It got better damage.
I don't care.
I know, but it must be mentioned. I'm sorry. The good old land speeder vengeance weapons, plasma storm battery. It went from 821 to 822, and supercharged is 932 932 to 933. So it went up a damage.
So finishing off Space Marines here, Deathwatch, you got some point decreases, nothing huge, but it's all over the place. Basically all your kill teams went down in points.
I actually am planning on building a Deathwatch army for a narrative event in Atlanta this year. I'm very happy about this.
I don't really get it though. Like Deathwatch was fine.
I think they were struggling a little bit. The problem is that the sample size is really hard to figure out.
That's true.
I actually think that like the Indomitor kill team does a staggeringly high amount of damage. And so a lot of the kill teams going down, I'm genuinely surprised by. I did not expect this much of a drop. So, hey, I think it's cool.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a small sample size kind of thing, but it seemed like they were pretty solidly good where they were. And then like we're also getting a new data sheet.
I'm happy about it. I think they're cool.
Black Templars got nothing, and Space Wolves went up in points in a few places. Basically, Thunderwolves went up slightly.
Yeah, Thunderwolves were pretty rough, and Space Wolves were decent, so.
It's not even a huge amount.
It's really not.
But moving into Chaos Demons, we got a change? Wait, what?
Yeah, Legions of Excess. You get to have full hit rerolls instead of only while in Shadows of Chaos.
Okay. I don't play Legions of Excess, but that's cool.
Yeah, I kind of figured that that's why you missed it.
It literally wasn't in the app update. We were scouring it with the patrons. Someone froze their app so that we could steal all the info, and it wasn't in there.
Yeah, Legions of Excess was just kind of like, it was weak, honestly. So like this gives a slight buff, and then like Keeper and Fiends are cheaper. It's pretty minor, but it is nice to see a little bit of something for a detachment that really was kind of weak.
Let's talk about Chaos Knights. Bricky loves the new codex and bathtubs.
Yeah, I actually thought that Triple Abominate was hilarious.
I did too.
And I was never going to do it because I knew it was going to get nerfed, and it got nerfed.
I already own them, so who cares?
That's what magnetizing is for.
Yeah, the Abominate will not be playable this edition. Do not attempt this.
Yeah, so the Infernal Lance detachment now makes you choose between the Invul and Feel No Pain instead of just getting it.
I was going over this during the stream earlier, and I was trying to figure out what this change meant. And the fact that this was both was insane to me.
Yeah. No, it didn't. It wasn't a choice thing. You just had both.
That was shocking.
Obvious nerf, but not immediately nothing. The Lords of Dread detachment, you now choose at start of command phase instead of any phase. That's pretty terrible. Maybe people were abusing it in some way.
This is specifically claimed for the Dark God strat. Yeah, and then the Abominate got its nerf, which honestly was just anti-fun more than anything.
They also, a couple other like small things, I guess, were... Oh, never mind. That wasn't actually a change.
Oh, did you get screwed by the red-green?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's a second. Keep this in, Borrelio. I saw a thread about this on the comp Reddit, and I actually really agree with this. GW, if you're out there listening for some reason, let us be another voice in this. Don't use red and green. Follow best practice for like all video games and colorblind mode this shit. There's a billion ways to do this. We don't use red-green on purpose.
All right. How about the 8-pointed star dudes?
Chaos Space Marines. We got changes.
Yippee! Yeah, we got changes.
Abaddon's cheaper.
I guess.
Abaddon is cheaper. The Venom Crawler is cheaper. Land Raider also went down. Dark Commune up. That is it. Fabius Bile made sure that you didn't be weird with when he came back up. He follows everybody else now. And Obliterators got a clarification, if anything, because I guess. The only thing that I look at with this whole thing is, I mean, they're probably not good, but Pact-bound Land Raiders.
No.
Come on, man. Those 5-ups.
Who owns multiple Land Raiders?
I do.
Who intelligent owns multiple Land Raiders? They were bad for like 9 straight years.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying buy a Land Raider, but if you're going to have a brick on treads, 220 for T12 2-up, 16 wounds with 4 las cannons and an assault ramp. You could do worse.
Yeah, that's true. It sure is a tank.
Okay, should we just do Death Guard?
Yeah, let's talk about Death Guard real quick. Death Guard got taken care of 2 weeks ago. They just got some point changes. Everyone agreed this was probably a good way to nerf them and figure out what happens next. This will come up later.
Yeah, I don't know. Death Guard getting nothing else still feels like a giant win.
Yeah, after being problems for like 5 straight months, yeah.
They definitely got points nerfs, don't get me wrong.
Right. They got deserved point nerfs, and we'll see what happens. Very level-headed response to them being dominant for 5 months. Let's keep going.
Foreshadowing is a literary device. Emperor's Children. I play Emperor's Children.
Eric owns Emperor's Children. They're in boxes.
Damn it, Eric. Let me tell you, Emperor's Children, very fun army to play. You have no idea the ecstasy, and I use that word intentionally, that is army-wide advanced fallback, shoot, and charge. It is insanity. That being said, they got a lot of nerfs because they were very dominant. The Cacophonous went up 10, that's fine. The Land Raider went down along with everything else, and occasional demon points drops like everything else. Doesn't matter. Fulgrim went down 25. Is he good? Most likely not.
I was just going to ask. I was like, this doesn't seem like it matters.
I think he will be a little better. He can now go over little boxes and stuff too, which is sick.
If they fix the wording on this, because technically this is a typo, but that's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that part.
It doesn't have the rest of the line where it says, as though it was not there, which it has on Knights and stuff. They forgot the end of the sentence. He is capable of moving over things. Yes, he is. You're right.
Very correct. Fulgrim most likely is still not very good. However, he is still very neat, and maybe you might use him for fun. But honestly, biggest thing here, Bliss Blades, 4 attacks, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Genuinely gooning my shit right now, like the Emperor's Children and Flawless Blades would have asked me to.
It's wild how like all of this, talk about like Fulgrim and all that stuff, and it's like, it doesn't really matter. I just want to see the change from a 3 to a 4.
It means so much, I tell you what. The Flawless Blades were decent, but just they didn't have the damage they needed, and this is really good. Will it make Emperor's Children much better? But it's nice. I'm happy for it.
It's also fun, though, that with the buffs to the Sanguinary Guard, they now have the same stat line as the Bliss Blades for the Flawless Blades do. It's kind of neat.
That is true. The only difference is that the Flawless Blades get anti-everything 3-up, and if they don't, they die. It kind of reminds me of the Ratatouille guy who's like, I make a pact with the dark gods. I attack something, and if I don't win, I die.
That's very Emperor's Children, though. I'm fully okay with it. All right, it's Thousand Suns time.
I don't fucking wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's time.
All right, so let's talk about this from this angle. Ready? Death Guard, top army, since they came out in spring. Point increases. Thousand Suns, 50 to 51% win rate. Point increases. Okay, fair, I guess. Why not? Fuck you too. Look, I'm not going to pretend that Zangor Enlightened with bows was okay.
No, those ones, so like they went, Zangor Enlightened, normal ones went up 5 and 10 points. Enlightened with great bows went up 10 for the 3 and 30 for the 6. Honestly, that seems right.
I'm fine with this. Shaman's up, Magnus is up, Infernal Master, lol. Sorcerer is up, Rubrics and 5s are up, Robots are down because of the robots. Munolith Vortex Beast is up because he's just too goddamn cool. Land Raider is down because they are attempting to get rid of them before they release the new Land Raider in 11th edition. Sots and 10 are down.
Which I think that's nice. But all of that doesn't matter because there were changes to the army rule and technically some detachment stuff.
Okay, so the detachment changes is not like the main part of why I'm so mad right now. The thing that I hate, you changed the army rule and this is bad design. All they did was change a simple line from you can do the ritual if no other model has successfully cast the ritual to now has attempted to manifest it at all.
Okay, so I have an opinion, and the thing is that my opinion is not based in reality and most likely is a very anecdotal opinion. And this was my initial reaction to this, and I would like you to explain to me why I am wrong. So to me, every time I ever fought Thousand Suns, they got off their rituals every single time. I do not think I've seen them fail a single ritual.
That's not how math works.
Yes, correct. But the amount...
You were playing against toilet dice. Did you sell them the dice?
Good point. By now. Now, obviously, they did maybe fail 1 or 2, but genuinely, it was maybe 1 single spell that has failed an entire game, per game.
That's wild.
That's simply not true. That is not how this works. Just from a stat standpoint, that's not how this works.
I'm sorry, Judge. You wasn't there?
Okay, but like anecdotally, this is fine for that one time, but this is not how this rule functions. This is why we bring extra characters to ensure that we have enough attempts to statistically cover everything.
Yeah, it's the amount of psychic test fails that I've had in previous editions is like, yeah, a 7 is actually difficult.
I'm not referring to just on the 2 dice. I mean with all 3.
Sure, when you actually do the 3rd for the channel and everything.
No, I'm referring to that I have almost never seen someone fail this roll when they push it with 3 dice. Very, very rarely has it ever happened with 3 dice.
I mean, Twist of Fate is still not.
Of course, it's not impossible, but I've almost never seen it fail. Now, even with that, they often don't always get the push ability, minus certain of the spells, things like that. Of course, obviously, etc., etc. My main question is, wouldn't the assumption to only be able to manifest a ritual once per turn force the player into pushing more often, which therefore adds more risk for the mortals as the reasoning? Or is there a different issue of revolving around this that I'm not getting?
Yes, so the different issue, which I'm glad you did bring us back to this bring up, is the design problem that there are 6 total detachments. So now that we have only one attempt to cast our army rule, how many of these 6 detachments can re-roll this?
I'll be honest, I didn't think there were any, but apparently there's one.
Yes, there is exactly one detachment that we will play for the rest of 10th edition. Thanks, GW. It's called Grand Coven, and you will never pick another one because our army rule is now once again something that we don't guarantee to get. So now we have to play all around making sure we keep our army rule mostly reliable. So now we'll be playing Grand Coven forever because it's the only way we can get a fucking reroll.
I mean, I feel you're not wrong. I feel like you're a bit too far.
It's about getting it to be statistically reliable so that you can play around it and maximize the usage of your army rule. This is like a core fucking game theory thing. And you can only do it in 1 out of 6. So you throw the other 5 out the window, especially when you get into several of them were already not great.
I do feel like with the channel, it's not quite as clear cut because like, while again, it's one of those like, Brad, you're like way too far on one end of like Grand Coven or bust, and Bricky's like, you never fail a channel, and there's reality is somewhere in the middle of like, Grand Coven's the default, you're probably going to take it because it fixes a lot of the problems that this balanced data slate just enabled. But at the same time, you can still fail channels, so like the other detachments do have a legitimate downside, but like the channel should make it pretty reliable-ish, especially for the lower number on the actual psychic. Like trying to hit a 5 Destiny's Ruin, you're pretty solid. You will fuck it up every once in a while, but it's really unlikely.
The real answer here, which reminder, if you have to do a nerf at all, which is questionable because we have like a fucking 50% win rate, why the hell did we get hit harder than Death Guard in every measurable metric? The real answer would be change the FAQ so that if you get any doubles, you take your mortals, whether or not you do the channel option. It at least nerfs the army rule without making it so that you're forced into a specific detachment if you wanted to nerf the army rule in some way statistically.
How does the FAQ adjust with the channeling ability?
The FAQ is you only ever take mortals if you channel.
Right.
Which is not how it reads when you read the codex formatting. The codex formatting makes it a 3-step process of roll 2 dice, you may choose to roll a 3rd, now take mortals if there's any doubles.
I don't know, I think that was a you problem on...
It is how the page is laid out in the fucking codex though.
Like, it's so obviously not that way. To most of us, but
it was literally not run that way by like Tabletop Tactics and other people. I was not alone in this. This is the way you would read that fucking codex. But anyway, if you had to nerf it that way.
See, I think K-Suns absolutely deserve nerfs. I don't think they deserve nerfs to the extent of, I don't think that Death Guard should have gone away as much as K-Suns. I very much believe K-Suns should have deserved nerfs. I've been on the receiving end of K-Suns a decent amount lately. They are incredibly good. 50% means dick. It's the same problem with Eldar. Bad players will use a hard army and play poorly and bring the win rate down, when in reality, high skill expression means that the win rate should be higher than it is. 100%. That being said, should they have been hit as bad as Death Guard? I don't think so.
But then we would see a higher tournament win rate that would be out of spec, which we don't either. So it's not that either. It's just anecdotally, you get annoyed at a player that you play often who plays Thousand Suns.
And seems to be pretty good.
Players, in fact.
I think the real annoying one to me here is like, I do think Thousand Suns needed nerfs. The points changes seem right.
I agree. 100%.
There might have been some other things in the codex to do. I don't enjoy seeing a change to the army rule as it is.
Not this change. This is my problem, is this change.
It's a very strong army rule for Thousand Suns, but that's kind of the point. I don't know. Again, I'm a big proponent of making Psychic good again. So maybe a bit of bias there.
I just want Psychic back. We're just clawing to the one bit of it that still exists in this fucking game. Anyway, World Eaters, you got updates. Exciting.
Yeah. It's all right. You can pull your Thousand Suns bias. I'll pull my World Eaters bias. I like my stabby boys. 8-Bounder down a a lot. Minus 4D. And now they get +1 damage against vehicles and monsters. And they hit at like 8, 3, 2, anti-vehicle monster 3 up. Owie. Very owie. Angron's down, Karn is up, Spawner up, Forge Fiend is up because for some reason the Forge Fiend was the thing that you only ran because it was so unrelentingly good.
I mean, they only had so many options for that slot.
It's like your only real shooting option.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy, but either way, I get why it went up. It was quite good.
It was one of those that also didn't really fit for World Eaters. The amount of shooting spam in World Eaters because of it was like, but I thought you just hit people.
That's true. I think for the most part, World Eaters ended up getting away with some pretty good buffs. I will say the Slaughterbound is looking particularly gross. I mean, Strength 10 is crazy, but he will also be given the Exalted 8-bound buff of +1 damage when he is leading that unit. So in a sense, he's Strength 10, AP2, 3 damage, but then you can give him the Berserker Glaive. So in a sense, he's like 7 attacks, Strength 12, AP2, 4 damage, and then he has a once per game add 3 attacks and do dev. The guy slams very hard.
Yeah.
Also, Angron is down, and Angron still, despite his problems, hits very hard.
Yeah, that's true. I do think the Slaughterbound getting the strength bump up to 10 just by like default will be quite nice. So like you don't have to rely on, buffing him up so that he actually kills tough things. And then like if you do continually buff him further, it just is like a guarantee that you're hitting. These are great changes overall, honestly.
They're here, they're going to hit really damn hard, and that's pretty cool.
All right, moving into Eldar. Azerman's down. The Avatar of Kane's down, which is kind of cool. Corsairs are up. I don't want to talk about Corsairs right now as a Drukhari player who just read the Codex. Dire Avengers are down. Swooping Hawks are up. And Wraithblades are down, and I love Wraiths. So it's your average jumble. It will do likely very little for anything.
Yeah, it's hard to look at this and be like, wow, a bunch of changes. But at the same time, I don't think Eldar really needed anything at the moment. They've been traditionally like either shit or the boogeyman scary, oh my god. And like right now, they're not really either. And that's good. So don't change it. These little changes are fine.
Yeah, they're in a fine enough spot as you're just knocking down a couple one strong thing, Swooping Hawks, and the rest go down that are just not quite as good. That's fine.
Drukhari. We technically got to change. The Chronos is down 15 points until the Codex comes out and we get our full points for the Codex data sheets then. I'm just going to say, if you haven't read the Codex and you're a fan of Covens, play Drukhari now because you're not going to later.
Let's move into Genestealer Cults because
oh boy,
there's a lot here. So Bricky, help us out and explain what the fuck's going on.
Nothing good.
So I played GSC at Palm Springs Open for my 6-round tournament. I went 4-2. I lost to those Thousand Sun players. Who was the second place winner of the tournament, and I lost to a Knight player.
That happens.
I played Host of Ascension, which I think was easily the best way to run GSC, and it's pretty disgusting. I mean, I dropped down 20 Neophyte Blob with all the buffs and one-shot Mortarion in a Death Guard game and one-shot Magnus in the Thousand Suns game, even though I still lost that one. It's pretty disgusting.
Yes, it is definitely the best detachment.
Yes. So a couple small changes. Biosanctic Brood Surge had a small adjustment where you basically get to move one of your cult ambush markers out of the way. It basically reads like it's a little bit worse than it is, but it just lets you adjust that so you can place a unit down, and it doesn't restrict you to being pure strain Genestealers, for example. So it's a bit more usable.
I'm a massive proponent of the target changing from just a pure strain Genestealer to select the ambush marker and do something.
Yes.
It's so much cleaner looking.
It also happens when your opponent goes within one, so you can basically just move it out of the way after they move and then drop your stuff. It's actually quite good. But Host of Ascension, okay, so Primed and Ready, that was the strat that gave you 5-up crits. The method was that the Primus would drop down, you would get sustained, lethal with an enhancement, and he full rerolled all your hits, and then you would use 5-up crits to do just unfathomable amounts of damage to everybody, because you also had Ignores Cover and most likely +1 AP due to a Ridge Runner.
Yeah.
It's 2 CP now, which I always kind of hate because as far as I'm concerned, 2 CP is normally a stratagem death sentence. I kind of would have liked a different method method, but alas.
I think it's hilarious that this detachment now has 2 strats that are 2 CP.
Yeah, the other strat that was changed was the Return to the Shadows one, which was the most toxic stratagem in the entire game. Basically, it was after you were shot by anything, you could immediately put the entire squad in reserves.
Yeah.
Which is just unfathomably annoying, and also was doubly good with GSC because all of the damage you would do would be when you drop down. So this is already annoying as a stratagem. This, particularly for this army, is horrendous. So this is now end of your opponent's fight phase, which I think is far more fair.
I'm honestly kind of worried that they're going to look at when Grey Knights have that thing and they change it, because Grey Knights do not need that nerf.
No, but also Grey Knights don't do the damage I do on the drop.
Yeah.
So Outlander Claw, literally the same thing as the Biosanctum Broodsurge one. And then Xeno Creed basically allowed you to set your stuff up more than 6 inches, which is rather interesting. And also, basically, it's a 6-inch rapid ingress that you normally couldn't do for 2 CP. It's a bit of an interesting one. But the biggest one here was they made it so the Primus is now +1 to hit.
Instead of re-roll the hit roll.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, like, obviously that is a substantial nerf to the Primus, especially in Host of Ascension.
Yeah.
With the 5-up crits. I mean, if anything, if he was dropped to just +1 to hit and the 5-up crits stayed, I think we may have been okay, but I don't know about that one. The Abominant went down 10, Ridge Runners went up 10 because the single Ridge Runner was really good. Adelan Jackals went up a bit, and then Metamorphs went down as well as Pierce Strain. Personally, I think Host of Ascension might be like dead.
It kind of feels like it. Like I said, there's 2 strats that are 2 CP now, and you also nerfed the Primus. That's a lot. I know it was really good, but that's a lot.
It's a lot. I'm a little unsure. I think it's dead. That being said, all hail our new Brood Sanctic Brotherhood, or whatever it's called, Biosanctic Brood Surge Overlords.
That was already my favorite detachment, even though it's not the best one. So like, it's a slam dunk for what I would choose now, even though I knew Host was like the best detachment.
Better Abominant price points, better Pierce Strain price points, better stratagem, and already kind of decent, and the better one got nerfed. So yeah, welcome Abominant spam.
Muscle Beach.
Muscle Beach is back, baby.
Let's just keep going right into Tyranids. It's not much.
No, it's really not. You got a pity buff. The Turvagon, Moloch, and Neurolictor and Genestealers all went down 10 to 15.
Woo.
Yay. I mean, like the Moloch and the Turvagon going down, that's good. They deserve to go down. Genestealers and Neurolictor, probably the same thing. It will change almost nothing.
And speaking of changing nothing, Votann, you got a codex, so you did not get changes in the data slate. We'll move on. Necrons.
People will say this is a nerf, and they're wrong.
You were probably correct in the fact that it's a blurf. It is a overall nerf, but because he went down 20, I honestly think it's like a dead even split here. So let's talk about the actual change. Silent King. He no longer has his ignore all modifiers ability. It has been replaced with add 2 inches to the move characteristic of units within 6. This sounds god awful if you don't realize he also already had the ability to do reroll. Going from ignore modifiers to reroll is a loss in matchups, but like it was matchup dependent on how much of a loss it is. Like, yes, it makes your death card matchup much worse, but in most matchups, it's a small loss, and the gaining the extra utility of the +2 inch move for like the turn 1 option is really interesting. And he's down 20 points to boot. So like, I really do think this is a fine change for Silent King. It's weird that we're buffing Death Guard right now.
I just have issues of like, the change is fine. Like you said, like, you know, point decrease, and the extra move is pretty nice. It's kind of neat. The previous aura that made it so that like the ignore modifier stuff felt like it fixed matchups that were a problem for Necrons.
I mean, it did, but normally it only fixed the mirror, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's like that and Death Guard are like the 2.
Yeah.
I think for me, the main thing is like, is this a nerf? In a sense, yes, but the power discrepancy between ignore mods and reroll ones to hit and wound is not that big. And then also what you're going to be doing nowadays instead is immediately start with the +2 move, stage your Necrons because they're slow, and then swap and stick in the rerolls for the rest of the game. And now you're down 20 points. I think it's fine.
I think you and I actually totally agree on this, and I know this is going going to be one of the hotter takes because I know a lot of people were malding about losing the ignore mods. But like, I really do think this one is totally a side grade that is more interesting because you went from two nearly identical abilities where one is, you know, percentile better in certain matchups and the other one is better in niche cases to actual mode changes. And at the same time, Triarch Praetorians get a slight point decrease if you want to play Triarchs.
Unironically happy about this one. Shout out to my 2 Obeisance Phalanx players out there.
Dude, it's fun as shit.
No, it's very fun. I mean, most of it's -1 damage for 1 CP on the Silent King, but it's very fun.
Yeah, Necrons, it's fine. This is not one that's bad in any way, in my opinion. I honestly think this is generally a thumbs up data slate for Necrons. For someone who this is a huge thumbs up for, let's talk Tau real quick before we let Eric talk for the next hour about Orks.
I'll try to keep it a little bit less than that. But yeah, Tau, big buffs, dude.
So one of the things we always complain about, Tau, the shooting army, had no anti-tank shooting. They listen. The ion accelerator for the Riptide is now strength 9 or strength 10 when overcharged. And now if you're in the right detachment, that means it's like strength 12, which actually makes it quite good at being a tank buster. So there is an option that's not a meme of taking a Storm Surge. If you want to play with mechs, there is also the tanks, but you know.
Yeah, now the Riptide actually kind of does its job. Yeah, just a bunch of point drops all over.
Broadside's 80 points.
The Crisis Battlesuit's down 10, Firesight team is down 10, and Farsight is down 10 to 85 points. I don't know how I feel about that, dude.
Farsight's not as good as
all the other options.
Yeah, he's got the issue of he's the meme lord in the wrong army.
Yeah, it always feels a little weird for like this epic hero battlesuit.
Who is like a very important character and like, yeah, 85 point.
Lol.
It's a lot like how the Lion feels, where it's like, how low can you go before this thing becomes playable for this character who's supposed to be larger than life?
I do like broadsides down. I like the idea of their very heavy, thick, dedicated anti-tank getting some points drops.
I, in general, think this is a great upgrade for Tau. Tau players are probably living large, thinking about trip-tiding it up.
This will help a massive amount dealing with just tanks and armor and stuff.
That's it for Tau, though. Like, it's not a long change to talk about. Unlike our final one here is Orks.
Orks are looking so nice.
Do you own a Gaz?
Oh, Gaz looks so good.
Hilariously, do you own a Stompa? Because they forgot.
I mean, Orks they got hit pretty hard. They need a little bit of buff. And yeah, we got a couple. Gaz, let's start with him. He can now lead boys and knobs, which that's so fucking cool. Like, he was always like, you're bringing them and then you'll probably bring some mega knobs because like, what else are you going to do with it? You're already committed to so many points. Just keep committing. But adding him in with boys or knobs, it feels right. It always felt kind of weird that he wasn't able to lead the boys.
Also, knobs give him the -1 to wound thing, which for Gaz is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
It honestly, it helps because he's so low toughness.
Yeah, he's 6.
It's so weird seeing Gaz and saying 6 toughness.
Yeah, it is weird, but that's where we're at in 10th edition. He's not a Primarch tier, but now he gets to actually lead boys and knobs without worry kind of thing there. And he can also jump in a battle wagon without like it just not really working, because he used to be 15 models. Like Gaz would take up 15 models in a battle wagon. Now he's only 4. Now it's like realistic to actually do.
He can like take his whole squad in the truck, in air quotes. I'm aware this is not a truck and that's a different unit, but he and the squad can hop in the pickup truck together.
That's so cool. And like, honestly, I think it's going to be pretty good. Like, that's going to be an actual option to choose to do instead of it being previously like, lol, look at what I can technically do. Also, massive buff to commandos, so they can now split into 2 units of 5 at declare battle formation step.
I can't wait to play against commandos this weekend.
Yes!
Eric is not one note.
Fuck you, this is so cool.
Genuinely insane buff, though. Additional infiltrators like that, especially for, in a sense, double the amount because you were only sticking the one infiltrator somewhere else, is very, very nice.
And Snick Rot's down 20 as well. Oh, it's good eating. I'm legitimately so excited for that. It's such a like small little change that massively affects how you build lists and how you deploy and everything. I'm so happy. Keeps going on though. We've got more. We've got Death Dread. They basically reworked the ability
to one that's much better. I like this ability.
Now it's just like actually doing a bunch of damage when it charges instead of like this weird battle shock test bullshit. And it did it in an orc way because, you know, you're rolling a d6 and figure out what happens, which is fun. We've also got the Killicans changed their fail case roll for the shooty power trip from a D6 to a D3. So not quite as terrible to fail that roll. Oh, and Brett, you like this part of the army. The beast boss is down 20. So is Mozrog, down 20. Hell yeah.
Also, why did the hunt and kill rig change from vehicle to monster?
I think it has something to do with various synergies.
All right, I guess fuck AdMech. There's a strat or something that could target monsters, so it couldn't target it because it was okay.
Yeah. I imagine there's some kind of thing in snake bites especially that's like a monster might be referring to like beast boss on Squigosaur, and now it can work on that.
That makes sense now that I know the why. Because I was like, they are clearly vehicles. I get there's a pig in the front, but it's a vehicle, dude.
Yeah, I think most of it was properly keyworded monster or vehicle for when it would come up. There might be a couple things here and there, but I do know that it lets you heroic intervention now.
Oh, good point. Because it's right, because it's not a vehicle. That actually might matter a little bit.
Which is just hilarious. My hunter rig is going to heroically intervene.
Skirt, skirt.
That is actually quite funny.
And Saw Blades, AP1 now is AP2. Let's go.
That's actually kind of cool.
It is. It's not bad, but silly little change there. There's also slight change to the mech guns. And this one's more of just like a clarification. Because like technically before you would roll for like each of the models, you could. I don't know. It was worded a little weird. Now it's the unit rolls and that determines your bubble chucka, not like each time, because mech guns are weird. You can take them as a group of 3 models. Beyond that, just some point changes. We got the big mech with shock attack gun down by 5. Ooh. War Boss and Mecha Armor down 10 is actually pretty nice. At 80, I'm in. It sounds good. Mega Knobs down, which sure. They've been hit so hard previously that I don't know that I really care. They're probably fine. Flash gets Ludas down 10 and 15. So those are good. Good changes. I'm happy about that. And Warbikers down a couple as well. I didn't really play Warbikers too much, but that seems fine. Overall, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah, so like getting into our summary here of the data slate, I think we can all agree Orks is the biggest winner of the data slate by a long shot. It is the funnest thing.
Yeah.
Like power aside for a moment, the Ork changes are just a ton of fun changes.
Yeah.
I really like the AdMech changes too. I wholly support the design stuff that went in the AdMech changes here. I like the idea of increasing points and increasing power at the same time, not making AdMech such a god-awful thing to imagine fielding. Tau, great changes. Don't be a fan of Genestealers, Thousand Sons, or indirectly Drukhari. Look, we're naming my factions. I'm having a great day. Real happy to be here, guys. Glad I showed up.
Yeah.
Is there anything on your side of things here, Bricky?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure out if a Thousand Sons player can fail those rolls. I'm just not seeing it, man.
Bricky, you never went to college, did you? This is why you don't know statistics.
Nah, brother, I did. I dropped out.
Nailed it.
Come on, man. Keep up. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do what all good college dropouts do and go buy 2 Bane Blades. Prepare the local LGS. I've decided to make a difference with the local terrain. I'm going to sit in it.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you wanted to get to this objective. It's too bad that a floating apartment building is now currently in your way.
With just a shitload of guns.
Yeah, the apartment building. What's that Family Guy skit?
You leave the monolith out of this.
What's the Family Guy skit where it's like, oh yeah, a glass house with a fucking machine gun turret on it. Hells yeah.
All right, we're getting loopy. It's late. Borrelio's going to spend his entire weekend editing this. I hope you all see it a bit early. This is it for us this week. Please do the YouTube pleasantries. It would help a lot right now. YouTube is an awful place this week.
The whole like, comment, subscribe, call to action thing.
Yeah, YouTube.
And also remember the sale we've got going on for our merch. It would be great. Alternative ways to support us that are not YouTube is fantastic right now.
Unironically, outside of Patreon, I would imagine that would be the best way to support you guys.
Yes, it is.
Poorhammer.com. Take a look.
All right, but actually mentioning our Patreon, real quick, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/SullyStevenson, where you can join great patrons like Michael Lipchensky. And we have producers we thank every week because they support us so much. They are 3D Frank,
A healthy amount of piranhas.
Aetherian Collector of Adepta Sororitas,
Blistered Brain.
Broken Reaper 45,
Corvus.
Cracker Barrel pegged itself with that design change,
Crafton survives local tried wife.
Demolition Man,
Eric, how much did you jack off to? Uma Masumi, how sexy is the game? Hashtag Mike Spainblade, hashtag Mike Spainblade, hashtag Mike Spainblade, hashtag Mike Spainblade, hashtag Mike Spainblade.
Gilgamesh versus.
Yon Geisy,
Just enjoying my Snazwagon for a while.
Kiwi Fruitbird,
Lib Loop Loop.
Mr. Squigums.
My tapeworm plays Tau, so I swallowed an airbrush.
That's still so fucking fun.
It is great.
North the Heretic.
NJ Harlan.
Off topic, but where's the nearest Cracker Barrel? I'm Egan Furpagan.
Pizza 00100.
Ratchet 7989.
Scott the Jim Crab Mr. Festastic.
That Moiety.
The Idiot with Grey Knights.
Victorian Batman.
And Wargame Simulator. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. That is it for us this week. Cue the music.
Beep-a-da-bop, boop-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, beep-boop-ba-da-ba-da-ba-boop-bow.